So, good morning, you guys. I want to talk about the Continental Classic. And, pardon me, I'm in a fancy hotel room. I'm vacationing in Denver. Going to go to Casa Bonita in a few days, bitches. But back to this, I want to talk about the Continental Classic. And I do want to say that I find it very problematic this year. And I want to go over it. First, I want to talk about the Blue League and the Gold League. So, in short, there are six wrestlers that wrestle with each other and they have matches, and there's a point system. You get 3 points. And then what happens is that, like the people in the blue league, like whoever has the most points will face the people in the person in the gold league who has the most points. And and definitely we'll see what happens really. So there's Shelton Benjamin in the blue league, there's Shelton Benjamin, Mark Briscoe, Kyle Fletcher, Danny Garcia, Mortos, and Kazuchika Okada. So, automatically my prediction is it's going to be Kazuchika Okada. And I have no problem with like the blue league. I think everybody's going to have great matches with each other. I do think that the issue comes in, how they're going to have matches with each other. Because, I think my big issue is, you look at someone like Mark Briscoe, and I think in my opinion, is he going to be doing the chair spots? Is he going to be doing all that crazy stuff? I also worry about Mortos because he's kind of been like the jobber type of wrestler. So I kind of worry, how they're going to actually feature him. I would have seen like Buddy Matthews in it, or Malachi Black in it as well instead of like Mortos. You could have either featured Anthony or Max Caster. Like Daddy Ass is like, okay, these guys, we need to have a little bit of a you guys need a break from each other. So I think that why not just enter into this tournament. And, if you guys, fight it out and just get out of your system, whatever, I think that could be an interesting dynamic, really. So I think there's a lot of people who could be in Morto's spot. Everybody is very legit. Shelton Benjamin, he has great matches. Mark Briscoe, he's been the former ROH champion for a long time. He's been in great matches this year. Kyle Fletcher, he had a hell of a match with Will Ospreay. Rightfully so, he deserved to win. Danny Garcia is the TNT champion. Mortos has been having great matches. Okada, he's obviously, had great matches. And this is also good for Okada because we need to kind of see if he actually is a wrestler that can do well by himself, really. He should not be, because the elite's kind of like destroyed right now, really. So you need to see what you can do. The only problem is also with Danny Garcia. He's the TNT champion. So you have to kind of ask yourself, does he needs to talk about that? Does he say something like, okay, I want to be a double champion, or whoever beats me becomes the TNT champion, or we're going to pass it around this tournament? Or what's going to happen is if I win this tournament, I'm going to take the TNT championship and it's going to be combined with the Continental championship, and it's just going to be the Continental title or whatever, really. So you got to kind of ask yourself, what is he going to do with his TNT championship, or is he like very ambitious and is he going to do double duty? So I would say that, it's very upwards for the blue division. Now, you have a lot of problems in the gold division. You have Darby Allin, Claudio Castagnoli, Brody King, Will Ospreay, Ricochet, and Juice Robinson. So the problem with Darby Allin isn't he really about the heavyweight championship to picture? And this is kind of like why Darby Allin is a bad wrestler, because he fluctuates through different divisions. For example, like I think it was last year, he was going after the heavyweight title, then he was going after the tag team title, then the TNT title, and then he went to the tag team title with Sting, and then he went back to the heavyweight title. So he fluctuates between titles way too much, So, and isn't he like in the feud with the with the Death Riders, So this is very, very stupid, very, very bad storytelling. Darby Allin should not be in this. He should be part of a fatal four-way, and I think that's what they're going to do, a fatal four-way between all these people. Between I think it's possibly going to be Jay White, Darby Allin, Moxley, and maybe Christian, or they can throw or Adam Page, really. So Darby needs to be in that. That makes the most sense for Darby Allin. It does not make sense for him to be in the Continental Classic. That is stupid. And Claudio Castagnoli, yes, absolutely, 100%, because he's a big man wrestler. You need more big men getting over, because that's because that's been an issue with AEW. You know, big men, strong men don't get over that well. They usually lose to smaller guys. Brody King, same exact thing. He needs to get some victories. He's a big man, and big men need to stand out strong. I'm happy with this. Will Ospreay, he's absolutely a very bad pick for this. And the reason why Ospreay is a very bad pick is a couple of reasons. You don't want to have Will Ospreay wrestling on television. And the reason why you don't want to have Will Ospreay wrestling on television is that he has very, very good matches. If he's always having really great matches, what happens? You lose. It becomes a diminishing return. You know, it becomes a diminishing return, really, you know. So, because, like, remember, he had a lot of great matches on television. What happened with him and Ricochet? A lot of people were saying that exact same thing. They said it felt like gymnastics. It just was too much. And then the other issue is that he does a lot of death-defying and hard-hitting stuff, really. So the problem is, you're saying, okay, he may have at least like 6 or 7 matches. So, you know, what's going to happen to his body, really, if you put him through that? And then what's going to happen at World's End when you're like, oh my God, you know, this guy has had 7 matches. Are we getting a little, like, tired of the Will Ospreay style? Because, you know, it's overexposure to Will Ospreay is not a good thing, really. Will Ospreay is like a Roman gladiator. He's like the Undertaker, or, you know, he's almost like, you know, like Triple H or Shawn Michaels. He's in that realm of pay-per-views only, because you don't want to give overexposure. You want it to feel big and special, really. Not saying he's on that caliber, but he's in the same, you know, parameter of, you do not take a wrestler that has very exceptional matches and you do that all the time. You make people pay for that bitch. You know, that's how it is, really. So Will Ospreay is a very bad choice. And then the other bad choice is Ricochet, because like I've said, Will Ospreay versus Ricochet is a match you need to have at All In. If you want to sell out that 50,000 seat arena with a bunch of drunken Texans, you need to have Ricochet versus Will Ospreay. So this is a very, very bad thing, because you're putting on free television, and that's that, really. So it's overexposure Will Ospreay, it's overexposure of this dream match. You know, it's stupid, it's bad booking. And then the other issue you guys tell yourself is, why the hell is Will Ospreay in this when he's actually lost with Kyle Fletcher, really? So it is kind of stupid. But I honestly think that they're thinking about ratings, and definitely you gotta, like, you know, you gotta whore out Will Ospreay for ratings, you know. So that's probably what it is. You gotta pimp that bitch, really, you know. So I don't agree with it, but Will Ospreay and Ricochet should be in better things. And the last person is Juice Robinson. You know, once again, Juice Robinson does not really matter. It's a stupid choice to put Juice Robinson in. He's lost a bunch of matches. He doesn't take himself seriously. He looks like, you know, he's like a more overzealous Randy Savage with a high voice, really, you know. So he's not the person to have, really. Like I've said, that I really think that, you know, you put Max Caster and Anthony Bowens in it. You could have put, you know, even Jack Perry in this, because he actually lost his title, but he held his title for a long time. You could have actually put, like, Pac in this one. You could have, you know, I'm thinking of the roster, really. You could have done a returning Miro or Powerhouse Hobbs. Or you could have even put Bobby Lashley in it, because, you know, he's like, you know, I'm past Swerve. You can put Lashley and Swerve in it, and other things like that. Really, there's a lot of things you guys could have done. They could have done, really, you know. So I think that ultimately, like I've said, that, you know, Darby Allin, Ospreay, and Ricochet and Juice Robinson should not be in this tournament, for the reasons that I've talked about. I think that's very problematic, you know. So I do think that, you know, for the finals, you know, my predictions are going to be, it's probably going to be Okada, because there's no way they're going to have Okada lose. I don't think Okada has been very, very strong. So it doesn't make sense that they're going to have anybody else. I would say, like, my second bet would be Kyle Fletcher. Though it'll be Kyle Fletcher or Okada. That makes the most sense. Now, I think that when you look at the Gold League, you know, my predictions would be, it would be very stupid. It would be extremely stupid, but they would have Darby Allin. And Darby Allin would be a stupid contender, because the problem is Darby Allin is a small guy. So you're going to tell me that Claudio Castagnoli, Brody King cannot beat a guy that, you know, probably has the worst back in the world and weighs 180 pounds or 150 pounds. You can't tell me that these two guys who can swing or lift the Big Show, lift the 500-pound man, and can't beat a person that weighs 150 pounds. You know, give me a break. So my prediction is that they're going to be stupid and have Darby Allin in this. And And then also you need a baby face. So my big money bet is Will Ospreay. I think it's going to be Will Ospreay getting this. And then my third bet is it's going to be Ricochet. Claudio Castagnoli, I think he would be a good surprise. Brody King, he has some charisma, but he's not super over. Juice Robinson would be really, really stupid. But I think that, again, you do not want Darby Allin winning this. I think some way you have to have Darby Allin get shoehorned into a fatal four-way. You know, the main event of World's End should be Moxley, Darby Allin, Juice Robinson, Jay White, and Hangman Adam Page. It needs to be a fatal four-way with that. You cannot have Christian Cage in that because that would be really, really stupid. If somebody has a Money in the Bank contract type of thing, why the hell would they want to cash it in for a fatal four-way match? That's dumb. You would want to cash it in after that. That would make the most sense, really. You don't do what Hernandez did in TNA Wrestling. There was a fatal four-way. He made a fatal five-way and lost. Rob Van Dam took a big risk, but he faced John Cena, cashed in his briefcase, before the match, but that does not make any sense, So I think that, Darby Allin, Will Ospreay, Ricochet are the people that are going to win. I think I would put my money on Will Ospreay. I think you're going to have Will Ospreay versus Okada. And I think that, again, you book Will Ospreay versus Okada, that would make the most money. The problem for the pay-per-view. The problem is you cannot do Will Ospreay versus anybody else. I'd say Will Ospreay versus Shelton Benjamin would be good. But the problem is you can't do Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher because the problem is it's the same old shit. And while they may have a banger of a third match, I wouldn't want to see that because as the old saying goes, that's lazy booking, repeat matches. So, but you can tell a good story with that, really, But the other issue is that Okada has not really been given a chance to shine. He's kind of been in the back seat, really. So I think that you need to have Okada defend his title and make it to the finals, really. I think that you need to Okada adjust to show what he can do. And if he gets over and he's really over with the crowd, you make him do that. And then if not, then it should be Kyle Fletcher. But I really think that, it's going to be Will Ospreay versus Okada. But if they don't go in that direction, it's going to be Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. And this time for a championship. And, who's the best, international athletes? The Continental Championship represents athletes from around the world, really. So, it's definitely good, but it's definitely very, very faulty. As I said before, that, Darby Allin, Will Ospreay, Ricochet, Juice Robinson, and Morto should not be in this. And then I question, why do you have Daniel Garcia in this when he's actually, the TNT champion and, double champions? You have to book a really good story with that. And I don't think they're going to do that, So it's definitely very, very faulty.